Thank you for taking the time and listening to my Evite journey. Prior to working at Evite, I was working with a client. We were working on a particular project on an iOS app, and this project went really well and he was very happy. And he happened to be an engineer at Evite, so he recommended me to work at Evite. I went through a few interviews and they offered me a position, which worked out really well. I was hired as a senior UI designer and I was reporting directly to the creative director there. My responsibilities at Evite included working with the developers and product department and also customer service. Basically through product, we would find out what the goals were at that time, and depending on what those goals were, I would meet up with developers and have various kickoff meetings. Also working with product, I would actually do presentations for the company and show kind of the direction that we were doing things from a design perspective. At that time, there was no mobile view of the website, so I actually was one of the first designers here to start on that project, and I did a whole presentation for the whole company, which was really fun. We also got to go on a lot of fun trips while I was there. Went to South by Southwest a few times, and also Google I/O as well. These kind of things are really fun to go on. You get to bond with the people you work with, and also you get to learn on kind of what the new trends are and kind of what products, how other products are doing things, and really just learn a lot of new information, and I really like things like that. I was brought into Evite as the senior UI designer. I reported directly to the creative director, who I had a very, very good bond with. We ended up building a really good friendship, and he actually invited me to his house multiple times. I had dinner with his family and we talked about design and things like that all the time. Literally the way that I do a lot of my design techniques and kind of the way that I think has to do with this particular creative director. So I learned so much from him. It was great. I also worked with a lot of other designers that were there, and we also built a really good bond as well. And we had a good time playing ping pong and kind of eating lunch together and doing things like that. I really liked that. There was a particular project that really stood out to me while I was working at Evite. Pretty much Evite is a company that you would get digital invitations. So like if you're having a birthday party or an engagement party or any type of events, you would go in and enter people's phone numbers or emails, and then they would get their invitations. But when they get the invitations, and while they're looking at the invitations, they would also see ads, and that's pretty much how Evite was making their revenue. One particular ad that existed on the homepage and the hero page, at the very top, it wasn't getting enough eyeballs and it wasn't pulling in enough revenue. So an idea that I came up with was, when users are scrolling down through the site, why don't we have that ad stay fixed for 350 pixels? That way it would hit users, and that's a number that I experimented with. 350 was a really safe one. So that ended up bringing in that ended up affecting revenue really, really good, and that project worked out really well. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening to my Evite journey. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day.